So as I mentioned earlier, Confluence has a little learning curve, and most of that comes from being unfamiliar and then having to get used to the Confluence environment. So this video should be all about navigating and getting familiar in the Confluence environment. So to get onto Confluence, provlab.atlassian.net. Atlassian owns Confluence, so that's like why it's Atlassian. So when you go to the home page, you'll need a login to get in here. So if you don't have like Google automatically login for you, you'll need one. And the login that you should use is in the general chat. Brian said it, it's pinned. So you go up to pinned items and then the pinned one that Brian said should take you right here. Find the username and password and then sign in with that, and it should throw you onto this page. So now the other way to get onto Slack or onto Confluence through Slack is pretty sweet. In any channel or any direct message, you can do !Confluence, and Slackbot will automatically give you a link to, again, this same exact page. So once we're here, this is the home page. Actually, I guess this is the home page for Confluence, and it'll display the most current project space on this page. So the most current project right now is the P2 endurance car. So the way Confluence organizes information is in spaces and pages. So as a space sounds, it's really large. So it's good for putting a project, and then that's like the umbrella on the project, and all the pages associated in that space are all the documentation for that project. So if we go to the endurance car, click here for the space, and then on the left side, this navigation bar, it has all the pages, all these are pages, associated with the endurance car. So, and then any caret, little arrow, means it has subpages associated with it. So then, like the endurance car systems, links me to all the subsystems on the endurance car. I can also click on any of these links, or I can click on any of these links to take me to a home page. So to click on the arrow home, it's the home page for the arrow subsystem, so this is what people would look at. Like this always shows, all home pages are identical. This has the current CAD of the picture of the CAD of the whatever the item is or part. So in their case, it's the shell of the car. On the right will be the members and their emails, and then their calendar with Jira issues, which we'll talk about that later. This is their weekly Jira thing, and then the Gantt chart for the quarter, which kind of shows when they'll be doing what. And then so every subsystem or subpage from over here will have the same exact thing. So I'll go to drivetrain. It's got picture of the render of the part, and then contact info for the team, their Jira calendar, and creative versus resolve chart. We'll get into that later. And then their Gantt chart. So every system page is exactly the same. There are other pages within inside Confluence too, though, such as our requirements page, which has our master spreadsheet for requirements, important documentation, which is all of the testing documentation, NX help, which can be very finicky, but this is how to convert from metric to imperial. And then, as you saw earlier, this is the what goes on Confluence page from the first video, which tells you what goes on Confluence. The way I like to think about how this is all organized is like a file directory in a computer. So if we go, this is my prove folder. So if I'm documents prove, it'll then have all of my folders associated with prove, kind of the same thing. So it's like the endurance car system then houses all of the pages associated with the endurance car systems. So going back to proof, if I open up the safety folder, it then has all the subfolders of different safety documentation we need. So if we go into arrow again, it then has all the pages associated with arrow. And then I click on this, and I want to go to Duratech. There's all the Duratech procedures and stuff. So then if I click on memos, it'll show me all of the standalone memos that they've done, which are like weekly updates. So that's kind of how you want to think about the space being organized, as like a file directory, and then you can navigate to what page you want to. And most pages shouldn't just be like a file, it should be like a links to each sub file. And well, the way to do that is, I'll get into this later, it's called a children display, which will automatically update with any sub page that gets added to it. So that's how you navigate through Confluence. Quicker ways to access Confluence through Slack. You can do !Confluence, and Slackbot will send you a link, and I'll take you straight to the home page. And then if you're back in Slack again, ! And then any subsystem, so I'm going to choose arrow, and then Confluence. It's not case sensitive. You can type it in any capitals you want. Slackbot will then link you directly to their page in Confluence, their homepage. So it'll make it really easy for not only finding pages you need to get to, but also if you want to update your own systems page, then you can just type in blah, 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 and then link you straight there. I highly recommend like bookmarking Confluence up here on Google, or just, bookmarking it is a really good idea, just so you get there quicker. Slack's always there for accessing anytime you want. If you forget it or you're not on your computer, you can go through Slack. That's the whole Confluence environment. Oh, one last thing. You can search any document you want. So if you want to do like breaks home, it'll take me straight to breaks home. So if you don't know what you're looking for, but you know what you're looking for, you don't know where to find it, the search is a really nice feature, because it will give you, if I just search breaks, it'll give me everything with breaks in it. Now most of them are in the breaks subpage, but if it's like someone else calling out breaks in if it's like a arrow and breaks joint meeting and they title it like that, it'll find you that page. So that's like another reason why titles are super important. It can link you to the right page you want to get to. That's the entire Confluence environment. Knowing that this is your navigation bar on the left, very important, and any caret means that it has subpages associated with it. Any dot is the end of the page. Pages are inside spaces, and pages can also be inside pages. The whole thing will be organized like a file directory, like I mentioned earlier. Back up in safety, and then in tech, and then the information. That is the Confluence environment.